Hey everyone, welcome to the inaugural video of the YouTube channel Avoid the Fish. Today I'll be talking about World of Warships Legends, the console version of the game, and we'll be talking about the Tier 7 German cruiser, Prinz Eugen. Fantastic ship. It's available in the store for 750,000 global XP, which is a steep price to pay for any ship, but it is fantastic and totally worth it if you have that in your inventory right now, that amount of global XP. And we'll go over some of the things real quick about the stats, and then we'll get into the gameplay, and I'll talk more about the stats during the gameplay. But starting off, it is a pretty heavy cruiser. It has 45,000 hit points for survivability, decent armor plating, and pretty poor torpedo reduction, but you don't expect anything better for a cruiser. The artillery, you have 4 turrets that have 2 guns on them each. They're 203 millimeter. With my build, I'll show you the stats. I use the Azure Lane Hipper Commander, but the highlight of this artillery is the AP shells. They do 5,900 damage. Very solid for a cruiser, but you have to watch out for the AP penetration because a lot of times you won't get that because you don't penetrate completely. So maybe you can focus your commander build and maybe inspiration of like Yamamoto to help you get that extra penetration. Torpedoes are fantastic for this ship. They are a little bit low on damage, coming in just under 14,000 damage. Maybe you could use the inspiration of Tanaka so that you get that extra torpedo damage, but not really needed. If you're hitting torpedoes, you're probably hitting a full salvo with this ship. Um, and they go 8 kilometers, so that's a pretty long ways, and they reload fantastically quick at 68 seconds. Maneuverability, it's a slower ship at 33 knots for Tier 7, but still fast. Faster than a lot at Tier 6, which are a lot of the games you'll be getting in. Turning circle, it turns like a big ship, but as far as the rudder shift, in my build, it's at 5.9 seconds, and I dodge pretty much every torpedo that's shot at me. Um, in my gameplay, though, I'll show you my critical mistake, and I get hit by a torpedo after bragging so much about dodging torpedoes. I do end up pretty much dying to a torpedo. And then concealment, decent. It's going to be worse than most cruisers. I think it's worse than all of them except maybe the Kutuzov and the Shapayev. But you're not really looking to hide in this thing. You want to be stealthy, but you don't really want to hide, if that makes sense. I guess you would want to hide, but you can't really. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. It is a tanky ship. It can take a lot of fire. As far as commanders go, I use the Azure Lane Hipper Commander because of the Vice perk. And basically, what that does is allow the ship to take more damage. I'm currently at level 11, I believe, and I can take 7% damage reduction for cruisers. The downside of that is that your damage control party reload time is extended by 25%. But the base trait of the Hipper Admiral is to reduce fire damage, and like I said, you're not getting hit by torpedoes because you can dodge most of them, so you don't have to worry about flooding. So the damage control party isn't much of a worry, and taking that 7% off incoming damage, it's like giving yourself 7% more health almost. So fantastic. Once you get to rank 14, it's 11%, and then I think it might be 15 after that, but I'm not positive. But it's fantastic for this ship. If you have the Azure Lane Hipper Commander, would definitely recommend. But if you don't, you can use Karl von Mueller. That'd be my second choice, or maybe my first now because they've buffed the repair party. But we'll talk about that in a second. But he's the aggressive German cruiser commander. Also an awesome dude in real life. If you want to look up more about him, maybe I'll do a video on him. But anyways, he was in World War I, not World War II. But his build is really good, and it can help you deal with that AP penetration, and you also get your extra consumable, which is very strong. This ship comes with a reload booster that you could exchange out instead of having sonar. And the German sonar is strong, but getting a reload booster for a cruiser is just completely unfair. You can delete destroyers as soon as you spot them, basically, and fantastic for that. Gunther Luchens is your other option. He's more of a support. I felt that I wasn't affecting the battle as a support player with this ship as far as just focusing on keeping my sonar up and watching out for destroyers. I was doing much better when I was playing more aggressively. And I think you can maybe do that with Gunther Luchens, but I think there's better options to play aggressively, like Karl von Mueller or the Azure Lane Admiral Hipper Commander. But you also get the extra consumable with your legendary tier at this ship or legendary commander with Gunther Luchens. So that's worth thinking about. But honestly, I think that the Karl von Mueller or the Azure Lane Admiral Hipper Commander are the two best by far for this ship, and we'll kind of go over that whenever we get into the gameplay. But real quick, we'll go over what I use for mod wise on this ship. And first off, I use the aiming mod. Very important to be accurate, even though you might play this as more of a tanky build. You still want to be able to hit people, of course. So for the slot 1 of the upgrades and modifications, aiming mod 1, pretty straightforward. I use propulsion mod. That helps me use islands as cover better, especially if a battleship's pushing around an island trying to kill me. I can get torpedoes off and then get around the island so he can't shoot at me. Very, very strong for that, and also just dodging shots. Damage control systems mod isn't really worth it here. You're not on fire too much and you don't get hit by flooding, especially if you have the Azure lane Admiral Hipper commander. The fire damage is just it's lessened, so you don't have to really worry about that. So don't use damage control system mod 2 in my opinion. And in the steering gear mod 2, I wouldn't use, because I use the steering gear mod 3, which makes it a lot better. And I think propulsion just makes your ship even more maneuverable to avoid fire while also launching torpedoes up close. Steering gears mod 3, very, very strong. I use that for my mod 3, and that's what allows me to get my rudder shift time to 5.9 seconds. It makes this ship so much better because you can play up close and you can dodge almost every torpedo thrown at you. Concealment systems, I don't think is really worth it in this. It does have that +5 incoming fire dispersion, but what it doesn't do is make you invisible to, like, you don't spot like a Miyoko or a Tago or anything like that, or a Mogami, or even the British cruisers. Everything else has better concealment than you, except maybe the Russian cruisers. So don't worry about investing in that. It's not going to really give you that much of an advantage over other cruisers. Steering gears mod 3 is what I would pick there. And then lastly, I use the main battery mod 3. That helps me reload quicker, sacrificing turret traverse speed. The traverse speed on this ship is standard is just good. This makes it a little bit worse, and it is a little bit of a pain, but as long as you have the map awareness to know where you're going to be shooting at all times, you can usually adjust before. And being able to shoot at 11 seconds instead of 15 seconds is very, very strong, and I'd highly recommend using this perk. But you have a little bit more extra options there. I wouldn't do the second batteries thing. You could do a second batteries build with this ship, but it's not worth it because their range is like 5 kilometers, and they're very good for a cruiser, but you're going to be using your main gun much more, your main battery, and I would just think that you'd want to invest there because 90% of the time you'll be using that, and so you'll want to make your strength stronger, and that's what you do. But that's the build that I use. Let's get into the gameplay, and I'll kind of talk about the strengths of this ship and show my critical mistake and how to avoid that. So we'll get into the gameplay now. Okay, so definitely did not just record this and then accidentally not record the audio, but we'll jump into the gameplay, guys. At the beginning of games, I'm always going to be turning. You don't want to get spotted early in this thing. It's a cruiser. If you get spotted early, you will be deleted by every battleship on the enemy team, which is kind of how it works. So get out of there. You could even back up a little bit at the beginning and let someone else get spotted first. Let your battleship take some damage. That's what they're there for. They can take the damage you can't. At least at the beginning of a game, when every battleship on the enemy team, any cruiser is going to get deleted. But this one's a pretty tough cruiser. So usually I'll head for an island. This is the brand new map. If you look at C on the mini map, you'll see how many islands are in there. This is what you want with this ship if you want to play aggressive. That's perfect. You can duck in and out of islands. If battleships push you, you can use the islands as cover and launch torpedoes on them. But basically with this ship, you don't want to get spotted early. You want to be a little bit stealthy at the beginning. Wait, don't shoot your guns even if they're in range until other people are spotted and taking fire of those battleships. Pretty common cruiser strategy. And then you can just start launching on people. You'll see I have the HEs loaded here. There's not really any cruisers on the other team. There's one, but he's on the other side of the map. He hasn't been detected yet, but I basically know I'm going to be shooting HEs at these battleships unless they're completely broadside to me. Like I said, the AP penetration isn't great for this ship. You can boost that with like Karl von Mueller and Yamamoto as an inspiration. But right now I have the Admiral Hipper and the Vice perk, so I don't really have too much penetration with my AP. It's fantastic against cruisers, not against battleships, so I'll shoot HE, try to burn them down. My HE does very little damage. It's a little bit frustrating at times, but that's kind of what you sacrifice with this ship by getting that fantastic AP. But anyways, I hop on the C point here, go for the capture. Something really good about this ship is when you're playing aggressive, you're playing for your team. Usually, if you're playing the game right and you're winning a lot of games, you're not just like a battleship that's unable to affect games if you're just backing up. You're playing aggressive with this cruiser. You're putting out tons of damage. You're also on points, getting captures. You'll see I'm checking to my left here. You always got to be aware in a cruiser where battleships are, because you're the prey. You know, they think they're the apex predator and that you're the prey. So you can see this Poltova, he's coming to push the point. Not playing too smart as a battleship, but what he thinks is that I'm a cruiser. I'll be easy to kill at the beginning of the game. So he's pushing me hard, and I know that I'm behind this island. He can't shoot me yet. I'm doing good. And he's in 4.6 kilometers. At this point, he's basically dead unless he like gets a triple citadel on me when I go to launch my torpedoes. I'm completely fine. So you'll see me turn the launch angles for these torpedoes in this ship are fantastic. I waited a little bit long here. I get punished by that Vladivostok or the Sinop coming around the mountain. I'm not sure who shot me there, but I get hit hard there. So thinking, yeah, this is a little bit rough. But I launched my torpedoes. Basically can't miss from that range. I hit all of them here, and he's gone from the game. Just an instance where battleships think that they can destroy any cruiser in the game, because the meta right now is to spam fire at range, and if you get a battleship within a certain range of you, you're dead. But in this ship, you're tanky. You can take some of those shots, and then the torpedoes, they're fantastic. Ships will push you all the time. At the beginning of the game, I just thought I was playing, at the beginning of when I got this ship, I thought I was playing pretty poor battleship commanders, but this has happened nonstop. I think there's a meta right now that really helps you play aggressive with the cruiser. If you can pull it off with something like the Prinz Eugen, it's fantastic, because battleships will push you thinking that they have nothing to fear, and they can fear you after the game when they're dead. But you can see the Sinop doing the same exact thing. He's trying to push me, get these shots, so I back up so that I can bow tank a little bit, mitigate some of that damage. I know that once he's shot, he has 33 seconds till he can shoot again, so I'm going to turn, launch my torpedoes, and try to get behind this island. If he was smart, he'd know that whenever I'm turning broadside here, I'm going to be launching torpedoes, but he didn't really realize that. He just kept on coming head on. There's not much he can really do at this point. He needs to get behind that island so that our battleships don't kill him. He's already weak, but my torpedoes will get there first, basically. I get behind the island. I'm okay now at this point. I have lost a good bit of health, and that was generally due to, or mostly due to that Sinop coming around the mountain, I think, that blasted me. It was this exact one. He's been pushing in slowly. But I lost like 20,000 HP at that point, so my game's looking a little bit rough. I'm going to have to hide more, play a little bit less aggressive. I'm shooting at that Gneisenau now there, that's why I'm looking at the mountain. I know I can switch my camera to those guns, but I was a little bit focused on those torps as well. And so we sunk that Sinop, already at 80,000 damage for the game. We've capped the point. We're capping B now, so we'll have all 3 points. This game's pretty much over. These guys played extremely aggressive and were punished hard for it. You got to remember, if you play aggressive, you have to play smart. And you'll see I play aggressive here and I don't play as smart, and this is what ultimately leads to my death in this game. But this Gneisenau saw his 2 buddies die, and he's coming in to give it a shot. What happens here on the right side is this destroyer launches torpedoes, and it pushes this Gneisenau even closer in towards me. He was playing a lot smarter, but these torps that were launched, he gets pushed in towards me, and I basically close this range, and I'm able to launch torps again. I don't want you guys to think that this ship is only a torp ship. This game, I just had 3 battleships push me. This will happen a lot, and you can torp them, but you're also going to be using your guns a lot. At the end of this clip, at the end of this game, I'll show you a couple clips of where I'm using my guns on cruisers, which weren't in this game, but just to highlight the strength of them. There's some AP rounds that I launched into that broadside Gneisenau. You can see the damage difference. They're very strong AP shells. So I turn here and I launch my torpedoes on this guy, and then I keep going forward. This was my critical mistake. I should have turned hard into that Gneisenau, bow tank his guns, and also avoid the torps that he probably launched already. But I didn't do that, and I get hit by a torp here. I almost dodge it. That's how good that rudder is on this ship. You can dodge so many torps. I only saw them for about a second there. But anyways, I end up dying to that torp basically. I get finished off by secondaries, but it took the rest of my health. I kill him, but I could have been alive and sailing towards the next battle if I was just being a little bit more smart there, if I was thinking about what he's doing as well. But I was so focused on getting that 3rd battleship kill, and I do get it, but I die. And obviously you want to stay alive for the full game, but that's the type of power this ship has. The torpedoes are fantastic, the guns are great, the HE is nothing to write home about or anything like that, but you're tanky, you can stay alive, you can shoot HE from the back of the map all game like any other cruiser. You're tankier than the rest of them, so you can last longer. The Kutuzov, if you try to fight a Kutuzov at range or anything that is built for that, even like a Miyoko or a Tago, something like that, it'll probably outshoot you for a considerable time, but that's when you want to use that AP. And the Shapayev, same thing. If you're going to try to fight those at range and just broadside for broadside with them, You might lose that unless you're shooting really accurate AP, but you got to make sure you get the accuracy out of those German guns to do that. But play aggressive with this ship. If you're fighting another cruiser, just use your front two guns, your front two turrets. Bow tank their shots, and you can hit them with your AP and absolutely slam them. You can make them run away from you. That's what this ship is for. It's fantastic. I'll show you those two clips of the AP being fired at different cruisers at the beginning of a game right now. Okay, so to interrupt and show these clips, I'm also going to talk about one thing that I missed when recording the gameplay audio. But I'm holding my fire here against the shores, basically until I get spotted at 13 kilometers, and then I fire. German AP is just wonderful. If you can get citadels from broadside cruisers, you will absolutely delete them. They won't be in the game for very long. And boom, 20,000 HP is gone. He has just a sliver of health left, one shot left, and we'll finish him off, and his game is over right here. The clip ends really quickly just because I was super pumped about deleting the ship within the first minute of the game. Same thing happens here with this Fiji. He's broadside to me at the beginning of the game. Just launch on him, and I get 3 citadels here and 20,000 HP of his health. It's gone, and his game is basically over. He tries to turn away here, which is the smart play. You can either turn in or turn away. I think that turning in maybe might have been better in this situation, but I get a shot off. That's a pretty skilled shot, but I do get a little bit lucky with the dispersion, I think, and I get an extra citadel, and his game is over as well. And then lastly, what I wanted to talk about was the reload booster. I didn't really cover that. I don't use it in my build because I use the Admiral Hipper Azure Lane Commander, and I only get 1 of these, whereas with your Gunther Luchens or your Karl von Mueller, you get 2 of these with that legendary commander slot with the extra consumable. But what this does is it boosts your reload, pretty obvious. Maximum speed of 50%. With the current build I have, I shoot every 10.9 seconds, I believe, which would cut that down to 5.45, which is fantastic. You can absolutely delete cruisers that are broadside. I would be using this if I have Karl von Mueller. I would use it whenever any cruiser is within like 10 kilometers of me and they're broadside. You can delete them before this runs out. You can also use it if you switch to HE and there's a destroyer and you don't want them to get away, something fast, maybe like the La Terrible. You can use the HE shells and absolutely delete stuff. This makes this ship extremely strong, and it's already better than the Hipper in my opinion by a big margin. But with this reload booster, if you sacrifice sonar, don't go with your German sonar, but go with the reload booster, you can make these guns even more deadly. So fantastic perk. Would highly recommend you use it if you use a different commander. Even if you do use the Admiral Hipper Azure Lane Commander, it's still good. You only get 1 of them though, and that's just a little bit tough to only have 1 consumable. I'd much rather have the radar with mine, especially if I'm going to be pushing aggressively against battleships that maybe have torpedoes like the Kanais now. But the reload booster is very, very strong, and I would highly recommend it. But anyways, guys, I'll get back to the gameplay clip. But if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if you have any feedback. I'm trying to make this channel as good as possible, and your feedback really does help. And so does the subscribe button and the like button for the video. And if you enjoy this video, come back, or if you enjoy the ship once you get it, come back and tell me what kind of build you have. I think most of you will probably use the Karl von Mueller, especially with the buff repair. Right now, they changed them for the legendary ships that are coming, and the repair's a lot stronger. So maybe the von Mueller build will be a lot stronger than the Admiral Hipper build. But anyways, either one's going to be fantastic. The Gunther Luchens build isn't my favorite, but maybe you'll have success with that. Come back, tell me what you think. But this ship is awesome. I highly recommend it if you have 750,000 global XP. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and enjoy the rest of your day, and smooth sailing, guys. See ya.